Hello, my name is Danielle, and I'm doing this video to show people how they can do weaving without using a full-size frame. As seen on this website, the one that's the top one, and the bottom is my group in this area. So I live in Ottawa East, and we've recently changed the name to Helping Hands Ottawa East. We used to be Mats for Haiti and Mats for Humanity, but we're doing more than just mats now. So, and the mats are going all over the world. So I've just recently changed it to Helping Hands Ottawa East, and created a Facebook group for that. So you can find us there. Up here, it's been put together by the lady who started all of this, Angela Castelli, and so you'll get to see her there. She shows how to weave a full mat, 3 feet by 6 feet. But I don't have that much space, spare space in my house, so I decided to modify her design slightly so that people like me can still weave while watching TV or whatever you want to do without having to have a full size frame. Just before, I want to show you how our group has developed some of our techniques to improve the speed of the way we produce our mats, and we're doing very well with that. So I just wanted to show you, we usually use one of these self-mending boards that you buy at a fabric store. And then what we've been doing is we pile 7 bags on top of each other, and then we use a guide that we put on top of the bags, I should say, and with an X-Acto knife or one of those wheels that cut material. So we take one of these, and so we can cut the top or the bottom, the middle, and the top very quickly. And we do 7 at a time because it takes 7 loops of milk bags to make a full length mat, so a 6-foot mat. If you want to make a child's mat, you can use we usually use about six of them. Okay, sorry. But you don't have to get this fancy. I just happen to have the acrylic in the basement, and my daughter goes to Carleton, so she was able to laser cut these lines, so it wasn't too difficult. What you can do instead, which is just as good, is take a piece of cardboard and make sure it's the full width, or a bit more than the full width of the bag, and cut it so that it's the size of half a bag. So you can put it here, cut the top, cut it down the middle, and then move it over and cut the other end. And that will work just as well. The reason we do 7 at a time also is because we found that when we were tying them together, we were spending just as much time counting how many that we've already put together as we were actually doing the whole thing. So if you pile them in 7 piles of 7, then the person that is looping them doesn't have to keep counting them when they're doing that. Also, before I start with the frames, I wanted to show you the difference between, okay, this is a typical weaved frame, weaved mat that we've completed. These ones weigh about 11 pounds. We've tried making them, trying to make them a little bit smaller by using, instead of a half a bag, 1/3 a bag, but it didn't make a whole lot of difference. If you do want to make them a little tighter, I find that weaving them every they call it weft, I believe. No. Anyways, I'll figure it out soon. You can just go through each chain, and it'll make it a little tighter. Also, what some other people I've noticed do, I have a tendency to make my my weft very tight. I keep piling them. Others leave a bit more space, which is just as good, and makes the mat a little lighter. But it doesn't really matter. From what I've heard, they don't mind the fact that they're a little heavier now. They take whatever we give them. So there's no set way to make them. Now this is a double crocheted one. It's very light. The nice lady in Valdor that does these, she didn't know how to crochet, so she taught herself and she double crochets them, which makes them very airy and not as thick, but certainly very handy. And I have another one over here. Which is the traditional crocheted mats. So this is what they typically look like. So you can tell how much smaller they are than the weaved ones. But either one is good. These are probably better if you're using them as a carpet. You don't get caught up in them so much, and to put on operating tables. But these are probably better for sleeping. Okay, so we've covered that. Now on to the famous new frames. So a friend of mine suggested when she saw the first frame that I made, which is like this. So it's much smaller than a 6 by 3. I made it with just the leftover wood that I had, and so this is what I had, and this is what I made. Makes a much smaller mat, but there's no problem with that too. I mean, they're happy to take whatever we give them, and this is nice and compact and doesn't take much room. But if you want it, most people like to make a full mat. So let me see. These are the new frames that were co-designed with Christina and Mr. Peters from the high school in Barhaven. He's a shop teacher, and he's been helping us to create more versatile frame and a full frame also. With this one, you can make a full mat 6 feet by 3 feet. So we have, I believe, 42 nails here. For the details, I have everything on the Facebook page, as well as on the Milk Bags Unlimited website. You will find the details as far as how many nails and what size and stuff like that. But this is just to show you how versatile these frames are. So we've just tied 2 together using the Plarn. Plarn is fantastic because it's very useful for many things. Okay, so I call this a frame because it's just like the kind of frame that people put billboards on and stuff like that, and it's sort of shaped like an A. So this model I think is great for schools or maybe seniors' homes where you can work two or 4 people if you want at a time, so you can have somebody to chat with. So instead of having it laying flat, if you don't have room and you want to just pull it out every now and then, you can use this type of frame. So we sell these for $20 each, and we'll gladly take them back if you end up not liking them. because it's about the cost of labor, um, just a little bit more than the cost of actually buying the wood and the screws and everything else. Okay, so one thing when you're using the frame this way, it's a little bit too, I don't know if you can see there, it's a little bit too long for 7, but that's okay. I found a way to make these chains shorter, is you just add another knot, and that will shorten it just enough, because the yarn does stretch, and now you have a nice tightness to it. So you would just load all of this and weave as you do a flat on a flat frame. We've added these legs. So normally when we are weaving just one person, we'll take these legs off. They're on with wing nuts, and so for ease, we'll take them off. And but if you get 2 frames, if you're a school or a senior's home or a group of some kind that would like to have one of these, so they would end up to be $40, 2 of these tied together, and there you go. It's a nice option. So I'll show you what we do with the single frame. So we take the legs off, and when you're weaving, oh, another feature that I wanted to show you, but that's, that applies to both sides. One modification that we've made to the frame is we've added holes here, about 1 inch apart, and we insert golf tees in them. And one of the biggest problems with weaving mats is that you end up having this hourglass shaped mat, because as you weave, we have a tendency to pull a little too tightly, and the mat starts getting tighter and tighter and has that weird shape. So with these inserted here, and you don't need one for every hole, you can just start here, so that when you're going around, and get another piece of yarn, it's all these chains. So let's say you started weaving at the bottom, but because it's too low, I can't show you well. But as you're coming here, you'd be going around this and then heading the other way, or they're more like this, and then you go the other way. This will make sure that you do not pull too tightly on the ends, and so it's very easy to do. Just I have the size of the bit on. It will be on the Facebook page. Think some. Anyways, I'm not going to take a chance to tell you the wrong one, but there's one size of bit that just fits just right and makes the holes just right. Okay. Yeah, you can either put one on every one, but if you don't have that many, you can just keep moving them as you're weaving. Keep moving them to the next hole. You go around, and you do the same thing on the other side. So it helps a lot. It fixes one of the major problems in weaving. So I'm going to put this one over here.